There's always those, like sometimes when you're at a conference, you look at like the session's title, you're like, are they at the right conference? Like, so that's what like this one's a little bit awkward to present. I was like, organizers, you sure you want me to? They're like, okay. So yeah, I'm gonna be chatting through that. I'm a graduate of the SFI program, so I've had some critical distance from design, and so a lot of my conversation today is going to be looking at it a little bit with a little bit of a critique based on some of the work that I've been doing since graduating. And so the title of this concept, or what I'm calling about humbling design by sensing rhythms. And I kind of want to start out by describing that there seems to be an imbalance in the design force, so to speak. There's a lot of emphasis that we as designers placed on action. And so what I mean by that is our theories of change and the leverage points that we're looking for and the interventions that we're designing. And there's a really strong emphasis placed on that from the education, from the models and toolkits. And what I think is maybe underappreciated or undervalued is non-action. And using design as a way to perhaps occupy a posture where it's not in action, like notably, it's non-action, where you're deliberately waiting, holding, sensing, observing. And so this is kind of feels like we've been emphasizing one at the expense of the other. And I'm going to push us to think about what that balance looks like. And just to go through the different domains, like design has been worked on through all types of different domains, from the communication, so the call to action, the button, think, do, jump, whatever, to the products and services that we develop, line up here, have a workflow this way, to the organizations that we have, R&D, marketing, development, sales, and also all the way to the social systems. And this is of the particular emphasis about our healthcare systems, our legal systems, our governance systems. And what we've noticed is that there's a bias for action that has like kind of crept through all the way up, and it becomes really concerning when that bias for action that's in design, where we're just always trying to do something, kind of comes out at that social system level, at our healthcare and our governance and others. And I think that's really concerning because of the alarming times that we're in. And so we might want to think about what is the balancing act between action and non-action. Whether we frame our environment as VUCA, volatility, uncertainty, complexity, ambiguity, or whether we call it the polycrisis. There's a climate crisis, and there's a migration crisis, and there's an economic crisis, and a government crisis. The crises get together, they have crisis kids, and those kids have crisis grandkids, and everyone. It's just a whole thing. Or even the meta crisis, right? Like, how do we even make sense of the world? Like, meaning, what meaning should we derive from our own existence at this level? And to be honest, there could be many framings that you might have. But I guess the point is, what is the role of design if we're to occupy a non-action posture in these crises? Might it be beneficial for us to kind of take pause and take account of where we are in a crisis to see through it better? And so that's where this idea comes from, is about really contemplating about the wisdom of non-action, just kind of standing and just taking it in, and just feeling how the world is unfolding around you. And using design as a way of kind of embodying that pause and seeing the benefits of, can we actually see things more clearly when we stop moving, stop trying to intervene. And so that's the name that we kind of give this concept around humbling design. And it's about learning when to act and when to let things go. And I think the key two words here is about learning and when. So perhaps it might not be about starting with why. Maybe it's about starting with when. One of the biggest ways that have transformed the way that I see the world is about, or in terms of learning, is about seeing the entire world as rhythmic. Honestly, this kind of like blew my head. So you're looking at all the systems and all the things you're working on right now. It's the summer season, you're looking at like the different cadence of the healthcare, different cadence of everything that you're working with as rhythmic. It has peaks, it has valleys. During the day, you feel energized. At night, you feel down. During the cold months, you might be contemplating more. In the summer months, you're exerting a lot of energy. So there's a lot of examples in whether it's business and sales cycles or transportation in different seasons. But seeing everything as a rhythm, moving through time, is a really profound shift in how we perceive the world that may help us understand when am I kind of going to act and when am I going to hold back, right? So that's what we mean by kind of sensing the rhythm or seeing the world as rhythmic. And it brings to mind like an older fable from the Far East. I won't do it justice and I won't even do it that well, and I'm going to add some of my own flair to it, but it has to do with there's an old village and the boulder comes falling off the cliff and it rolls down into town. All of the village folk try to come. They try to push it. Nothing can be done. But when they look around the environment, they see that the river that flows every year and arises into it, they're like, maybe we can use the river. And so they dam it, and they wait, and the pressure builds up. And when they finally release it, the water has nowhere to go but to be redirected, and it moves the boulder. There's a lot of things you can derive from that, but I think the point here is about understanding the key variables about what are those boulders that we are exerting a lot of energy on, trying to push, while perhaps not appreciating our own sense of timing about what is there in the environment. What can we use that may help us exert a more powerful change if we get the timing right? What is it about harnessing the existing potential and energy of a situation? There are things that unfold that cannot unfold, help but unfold any way. And so how do you harness that energy that's out there? And how do you make sure that you are directing it in a way that's really useful? And that's the final point about redirection. And so are we tapping into the existing interest? Are we trying to convince someone, or are we trying to find their interest and carve out a path where that interest can flow and be part of the change that we're seeking? So these are some of the ways in which we're thinking about how to think about the world in a rhythmic way, how to think about our businesses or the transit, and when are the schedules changing? When does an organization do all its sales? So it's a matter of when, and those are the things that you want to act on, about the sense of timing, the sense of rhythm. Thinking rhythmically is completely different in another way. So by humbling design, I think we can maybe think about design and design education as putting some different almost metrics about what we value. Perhaps design can help us value clarity that comes from stability. So maybe we can actually value, there's benefit to not acting too quickly, too soon, too profoundly. And the clarity that you arrive at is what is of value. Perhaps we can even have like an inverted measurement of like, to what degree did you not force a change? How well is your project that it just kind of naturally flowed with the way the movement is already going? You know, how much effort? How did you achieve your goals with the least amount of effort that you took? So a kind of an efficiency idea. And another measure is letting things unfold. Maybe there is a role for design to just having us appreciate that sometimes things just have to unfold at their own pace. You may not be able to speed up how old your kid goes from 6-year-olds to 12-year-old. It's going to take 6 years. You just have to let it unfold. You can create the contours of how they grow and nurture their personalities, but things just take time. So can we put a premium on that in our design, in our education, in our models, and how we think about that? So when I think about the future and the prompt that we had about what it is, the type of future we're creating, I think that is what I see is a design posture that is humble and that knows and senses and learns when to act and when to non-act by sensing rhythms. Thank you very much.